Hey guys, welcome to episode 9. We're doing things a little bit different today, so I hope you enjoyed that intro time lapse. Remember last episode when I was talking about a Nether build and we never quite got to it because we did a vine farm instead? Well, here it is. This massive tower is actually an enclosure for our hoglin farm, which we built a few episodes ago and has been providing us with pork chops and leather ever since. I upgraded the storage system a little bit, and then we went to town on building. And boy, did this thing take a while and come out amazing. I'm very happy with this. We're going to give a similar treatment to the gold farm, which is off one way or the other, but it's pretty close by here. And then we're going to do some, we'll call it terraforming or building. We're going to make the area look really cool around this, because we can't just have this super cool tower out here in the middle of an empty, flat wasteland with nothing going on. We've got to create some life around it. But that's a project for another day, probably several other days, if we're being honest here. So, let's go work on some other projects back at the base in the meantime. There are a few projects around base that absolutely demand our attention, and I just can't put them off anymore. I'd love to, because you know I love to procrastinate. But the tree farm, which you do get to over there, but we're going to take the service entrance up here through our little roleplay area where we have our bunk beds. And if we go back through here, and our doors keep disappearing, I'm not sure if zombies are taking them down or there's a glitch, but we're going to have to grab a stack of doors and go through the base. I've been doing a bunch of stuff over this way, which I'll show you guys in a moment, but what we are going to dive into is this. Our tree farm got kerblooied. Creeper got in here somehow, got triggered somehow. I really thought we had safed it up, but we're going to take extra precautions next time. And I really need to rebuild this because we cannot be without our tree farm. Chests and hoppers depend on it. Meanwhile, before we jump into that, I'll show you guys what I was working on over here. We needed an entrance to the underground that was not water-based so that we could get animals up and down and whatnot, theoretically. And so this kind of comes up and wraps behind the scenes. We're going to have to do a bunch of touch-up work in here. And this will go all the way up to the surface. This is a little garden that I put in with a little water feature. Now, I haven't finished doing these caves. It's something I'm probably going to finish up on a live stream or off camera when I'm bored one day. But this will take us all the way up to the surface where we're going to have some more projects going on. But I'm getting off track again. Let's get this tree farm fixed, and then I'll bring you guys back in, and we'll talk about what we're going to be doing next. And we're back in business. For anyone who's interested, this is Nim's tree farm, and I'll put a link to that in the description so you guys can check it out for yourselves. It's hands down one of my favorite farms, and it's a good thing we got it up and running because our next project is going to require a lot of chests. Now, what we have here is the backside of our furnace array. Half of them are over here, half of them are over here, and this bamboo farm feeds into the whole system. We also have an on-off switch so that we could put in our cactus for experience collection and dye. And the system has been working great for us so far, but now that we have a little bit more experience under our belts, it's time to make some upgrades. We put this system in with very little backfill, and I'd like to put in a different style of bamboo farm. One that runs off of bone meal and that automatically shuts off once the backfill is completely filled up. I've designed it in creative already, so it's just going to be a matter of retrofitting it to the space, which shouldn't be too hard, but it is going to be time consuming, and we won't be able to smelt anything while it's going on. So, I'm going to get that done, and I'll see you guys in a second. All right, that project is done, and it came out great. we've got massive backfill for both bone meal and for bamboo. The chests down here on the lower levels are the bamboo backfill for both sides, and there's 4 chests per furnace because bamboo burns items at 4 bamboo per item. So with this setup, once we're fully backfilled, we'll be able to handle 30 double chests without even having to have the machines running. Now each of these machines runs by bone mealing bamboo until it gets to the observer and then popping it off with a piston. Pretty standard stuff. The hopper minecart catches anything that lands on the dirt block, and we drop that back into the system with an auto dropper circuit so we don't lose anything. And we have a massive backfill up here for bone meal that's coming from a pumpkin and melon farm up above. Each of the 2 modules on each side, for a total of 4, has its own bone meal farm. So once we've finished backfilling all the bamboo and all the bone meal, we'll be able to handle massive smelting projects without even blinking an eye. These systems, having 2 on each side, should be able to keep up with all 15 furnaces as they're going, so we won't even tap the backfill on the on the bamboo until we've completely exhausted our bone meal supply, which is why I've made it so huge. And this system is going to come in handy because we've been doing a big Nether project. I've actually been digging out a hole for our Nether hub, not necessarily in secret, but it's something I knew would take a while, so I've been doing it kind of behind the scenes, little at a time. So I put together a time lapse of a massive amount of time into a short little couple of minutes here. So I'm going to show you guys that, and then we'll jump over there and talk about the future plans for that project. I couldn't help but do the math on that time lapse, and there's over 54 hours of game footage in that segment. This took a long time, and it didn't even feel that long, to be honest with you. It was very, I don't want to say relaxing because of the gas, but it was almost like meditative after a while. You would pick a chunk and you would just go and go and go, and it was a lot more rewarding to watch the time lapse than it was to actually do the work itself, because when you're in it, it doesn't feel like you're actually getting anything done. But then when you speed it up and watch the last few hours in a quick succession, it's pretty impressive. I've always loved time lapses for that. But the plans for this place are to eventually take this all the way down to bedrock. I haven't gone that far yet because phase 1 was to get it down to lava level, because now that we're down to lava level, our technique has to change a little bit. We're going to be saving some of this lava for projects that we need in the overworld, because we don't have renewable lava yet, and I need some lava for some other projects. So that's going to slow us down a little bit. We will eventually start filling it in with gravel and sand to speed up the process. And there was a bastion over here. So where our lines actually cut in a couple of spots, there's going to have to be some repair work done on the lava lake, because I do want to cut straight through it without cutting it off. There will be glass to show the lava lake as we're below this level. But again, these are all long-term plans. This is not an overnight project. This is not a, hey, let me jump into another quick time lapse and come back and this will be built up. The roof alone is going to be days, maybe weeks of progress, as well as the floor once we get all the way down to bedrock. The next stage involves putting glass in all of these holes so that we can actually have windows to look out into the nether. And that's what I actually saved this part for. We do have to cut this out, but since there's lava in the basalt delta, it's going to be easier for me to start from the top, bringing the glass down to like solidify where our circular line is that was cut out so well at the top and kind of got interrupted by gas explosions going down. And I'm going to finish cutting this out as I add the glass in from top to bottom. I plan on time-lapsing all of this, and then eventually, once this whole thing is done, which is a long-term project, I'll release an individual video that shows the entire thing, all the time lapses from the first block dug all the way through to completion. But again, very long-term project. I'm looking forward to it, and I've got the bug right now to work on this, so we're probably going to be seeing a lot of progress. But my goal is to get you guys an update on this project once every 2 to 3 videos, as the progress is definitely a large number of hours for each little bit. I'm getting along a little bit long-winded now, and I'm probably going to crash if I keep flying in F5 mode like this. So let's head back over to base and talk about what we're going to be doing to finish out today's episode. So far, we've done an epic tower build in the Nether. We've repaired a complicated redstone circuit. We've upgraded our furnace array, and we've even checked in on our first mega build for the world. What are we missing in this episode? What else should we do? Well, what I think is that since we gave the back end of the furnace array an upgrade, we should make it our mission to finish out this little small to medium interior build. Although I love this room as it is with the fountain and the fire, I feel like it needs a little bit more going on. Much like our tree room and our meditation room, this room needs a little bit more detailing out and could use some dirtying up. I mean, it is the furnace room after all. We definitely need to show that we are working in this area. And then eventually we can get our treasure room, and our 4 corners will all be caught up to each other and looking fantastic. So I think I'm going to take a crack at this. I'd show you guys what I do for my process, but I don't really have a process. I just do things, and they happen. And I think it would be a little frustrating for you guys to see that in real time. So I'm going to go futz around, see what kind of blocks I can come up with, probably build a few things, rip them down in frustration, and then come back the next day with the ideas that'll actually stick. And hopefully This will look really good. Hopes were met and expectations exceeded. I wanted to show you guys the way the room turned out with shaders on, just because it looks so great with the way that light plays from the lava and the water. But let's kick back over to vanilla textures so we can get some FPS as we walk around here. Even without shaders, I love the way this room looks. Let's bring back up our HUD, and guys, this turned out great. I swapped out the red for purple in here just to give us a little bit of variation on the color. You know I love the black and purple. And we put anvil storage and furnaces and smokers and pretty much the whole nine. I've been trying different blocks to use as kind of like string lights for a while, and the respawn anchors work great. Just don't click on them in extra time. Explosions happened, and I did wind up having to rebuild stuff. Remember I was talking about how I would build it and get frustrated and tear it down and have to redo it? Well, that didn't happen, but an explosion did. I realized earlier that I was trying to make a point about why we need the furnace room so badly when I was talking about the nether, and we are going to be using nether brick and red nether brick in some of the build, and as you saw, it was huge, so we're going to need quite a lot of that nether brick, which means we're going to be smelting down tons of netherrack, since it's 4-to-1 for the nether brick and 2-to-1 plus nether wart for the red nether brick. So we're going to need to be burning stuff left and right. In addition to that, we still always have a steady flow of all of our other metals and ores and whatever else that comes through our system, and smooth stone and all those different things. Plus, it's how you get cracked bricks, cracked blackstone. So it's great to have our furnace system up and running. And look, I put little flowers all over the place because I wanted to give a little bit more character to the place. I'm going to wind up adding little details to the base forever. Like, you never stop. It's like when you live in your own house. You add things and change things and remodel and continue growing with your house, which is kind of what I've done with this base here, and I'm really loving it. We got to tackle this this treasure room, guys. This is definitely eating away at my soul now, being that we have 3 out of the 4 corners looking really good now. But that's going to have to be a project for another day. We're going to call this video here. I hope you guys enjoyed all the projects, and I hope you come back for the next one. If you did enjoy yourselves, please do hit that like button, and if you're new here, hit that subscribe button so you can check out future videos. This was a great time. I'll check you guys out next time. Take it easy.